Hey, Lead Up listeners, Mike Harbour, another great episode of the Lead Up podcast. I'm so glad you're joining me again today. This is episode 463. We're moving right along. We're into the final quarter of 2025, and there's still lots to be done, I'm sure, from a leadership perspective on your end. I know for me, we've had a very good year here at Harbour Resources, but we're behind on our goals, even despite the great year that we've had. And I know for you too, it can be a challenge. So look, over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about some of those things from a mindset, goal setting, how you can ready yourself for 2026. But today's episode, I want to talk about with you because this is typically a time where people may change jobs. I call this episode the Resignation Revolution, how elite leaders can convert resignations into relentless growth. There's a huge opportunity for us as leaders when we lose somebody, when somebody gives us a resignation. Hopefully that won't be you, but I want to challenge you to take advantage of it. Look, I'm talking to you right from my book, Quit Losing Talent, the expanded edition. You can grab a copy of that on Amazon if you don't have a copy of it. But our goal here is to equip leaders with strategies to build elite teams, to retain top talent, to transform your team and organizational culture. And so some of the things that we're going to talk about in this episode it's a missed opportunity with most people that I work with. When someone resigns, it's easy to feel a sense of loss or frustration, maybe even joy, depending on who they are. But what if I told you that every exit is an opportunity for you to learn, to grow, to strengthen your organization for the future, to strengthen the attraction strategy that we talk about in our book, to ready you for that, to land the right person. We're going to explore how to manage that employee offboarding with purpose and integrity, turning what could be a negative experience into a powerful strategy for building a network of alumni who may one day return as a boomerang or who become recruiters for you out in the marketplace. So I want you to grab a pen and paper and take some notes here. This is going to be vital information for you. In my experience of working with thousands of leaders, hundreds of companies, they all say they have an offboarding process or an exit interview a lot of times. And I can tell you in my experience, most of the time in the exit interview, we don't get the information we need to really help us, or we don't do anything with it, or we don't do it at all. Maybe we get that information, we don't touch it, we don't give it to the right people. I know I've worked with organizations, one HR director, capturing all this exit interview information in a digital format, but then not sharing it with the executive team. So the executive team can strategize around what they need to do different at their level and what training needs to be made available for those at the mid-level who are most important in this process, because it's typically at that level where we're losing people on the front line, and those mid-level leaders have to get better. So there's hidden value in this exit process, and this graceful exit. The way an employee leaves your organization is just as important as the way they arrive. Part of my teaching in the offboarding process, what we call the release strategy in our book, is that if we do it well, it helps us in the future. If we do it poorly, it can damage our team morale, it can harm our employer brand, and it can close the door on future collaboration with that person that's leaving forever, or maybe even anybody else that we'd rather have on the team if they go out and say negative things about us. But a graceful transition, one that builds bridges, it demonstrates respect and reinforces your company's values, your brand, and it leaves a long-lasting positive impression in that person who's leaving. Think about it. In today's connected world, former employees, they're your brand ambassadors, whether you like it or not. Look, you can't keep 100% of your people. People are going to leave for various reasons. But they share their experience with their networks, with people they know, with their social media networks, on review sites, maybe even your homepage for your company. A positive offboarding experience ensures the story they tell is one of respect and professionalism. Look, think about it like this. They're a customer. Don't you want positive customer reviews? It's so easy to give a bad review today out on the social media world when a customer leaves. We need to be thinking about losing employees in that same fashion. What kind of pulse check can we do? I've got a program I called Quit Losing Customers. And we teach leaders to do pulse checks of their customers before they ever leave the facility, wherever they're getting their service from. What if we did that with employees that resign and are leaving as well? Here's the deal, that value goes deep. As I've detailed in my book, the release phase of the employee life cycle is a gold mine of insights. When you part ways on good terms, you create a safe place and space for honest feedback that can help you identify and address the very issues that might be causing turnover in the first place. Now, the reality is there's a lot of talk that people leave leaders, not organizations. But sometimes that's not true. I don't believe that's always true. I do believe most people will leave because they don't like the leader they work for directly. But it typically, and I've said this a bunch if you listen to me at all, they leave for a similar job for similar pay. If that is true for them, if they're not relocating or getting a promotion or getting a significant raise, getting closer to home, a better title, if those things aren't there, then it could be you, the leader. But it also could be your team. It could be the culture within the organization. Maybe it could be above your head. But wouldn't you want to know that so you can do what you can do to control the things that you can control? It may be having conversations with your superiors within your company. Your departing employees will give you some of the most honest feedback if asked, if treated well, if knowing that you're a leader that's going to do something with it. Now, hopefully you're that leader already. I talk a lot about elite leadership, being the leader that can lead the way I'm talking about today. That requires you to grow, to learn, to use the ideas that I'm going to share with you today, that I am already sharing with you on today's Lead Up podcast. Also, we want to look at strategies for positive offboarding, to create that positive offboarding experience. So how do we create these transitions? It requires deliberate, purposeful effort on your part. You have to have an approach. You can't just hope this happens. It's a strategy. One of the things that we do at Harbour Resources when we work with companies is we help them put systems and processes in. We don't want to treat people like robots, but we need systems and processes in place so that when we're interviewing somebody, we've got a system we follow. So if it doesn't work well, we can go back and fix the piece in the system that broke down. It's the same thing with the exit process. You need a process, a system in place so that when someone gives you their resignation, you've got a playbook to follow to try to gather the most information as you can so that you can make a positive difference for future employees or hopefully prevent resignations from others that you have on your team. I'm going to share 3 key strategies for you today in what we're talking about. Number 1 is gather actionable exit insights. That exit interview I want you to do it within 24 hours, 48 max, when somebody gives a resignation. It doesn't need to be sent to them digitally. Like, do it face to face or over a Teams meeting, a Zoom meeting, a virtual platform where you can meet with them face to face to feel their energy, to see their body language. This is actionable insights. And what we want to do is ask open-ended questions. So we want to conduct an autopsy without blame, as Jim Collins would say. Your goal is to understand the root cause of the departure. Look, here's where I think failure happens most. Is the leader asks, well, why are you leaving? Well, I got more money somewhere else. And they leave it at that. And then we go to HR and we go to our boss and say, we're not paying enough. But the reality is, and I've been doing this a long time, the reality is most people aren't leaving for more money. Not significant amounts of more money. Typically, they're taking a very similar job for very similar pay, but there's a reason deeper down that they chose to leave you and your team. Now, I said this earlier, I'm not saying it's always true, but you got to dig. You got to be willing to go past, well, I got a pay raise. Talk to me more about that. What did they give you? What other responsibilities? You get a new title. I want to go deeper. But I want to ask some open-ended questions. I'm going to give you 3 of these that you can use. What challenges did you face in your role that we could have helped you with? Now, I teach a principle called a talent lock conversation, and I recommend companies, leaders do a talent lock conversation with every single one of their direct reports once a quarter. Most of the time, that talent lock conversation comes right here at this exit interview. This question I just gave you should be asked quarterly of every one of your employees. What's going on here? What's not working well here? How can we help you with your role? Now, don't be as direct as I just said. It has to come from a heart level place, relational. The second question is, what's one thing we could change to make this a better place to work? Like, let's dig into the culture. Are they leaving because there's cultural issues or team issues or morale issues that I'm not aware of as a leader? Because sometimes as leaders, I get micro-focused on the things I've got to get done, my KPIs I've got to hit, and I'm not really in check with some of the cultural things within the team that I need to be aware of. Maybe a third question is, was there a specific person or barrier, obstacle that made your work more difficult? Don't be afraid to ask these questions. What I don't want you to do is get stuck in, well, I got more money, because there are things that more money will not solve. Leadership can fix, though. And if they're leaving because you've got some cultural issues, you're going to lose another employee and another employee and another employee. And eventually, all your best employees leave, and you're left with what? Maybe some of the challenging people that are causing some of these departures by some of your good talent, some of your good employees. You need to know this. And this is where this release strategy comes in. The second thing you need to do is you need to discuss these transitions with your team. Look, when someone leaves, the work they've been doing is now going to be up to other people that are currently on the team. Unless you've just got an immediate replacement, which most people do not, you need to discuss these transitions. So when this void's created, the remaining team members are often left with questions and uncertainty, increased workload. They're going to be saying, well, who's going to do Sally's work? I'm not doing it. I don't have time. I'm already overloaded. So an elite leader, if you want to be an elite leader, you need to step into this heads on. You need to address this as early as possible. As soon as we announce that departure of that employee, now we need to get into, okay, how are we going to manage this workload of Sally's until we hire a new employee? So we need to hold a team meeting, discuss the departure transparently, acknowledge the employee's contributions and what we're going to miss about Sally. Communicate a clear plan for managing the transition. This provides stability, it alleviates concerns, it shows your team that you're navigating the challenge with purpose and care. Silence breeds anxiety, and communication builds trust. So if you just avoid it, they're going to get anxious, and you're going to be expecting them to do Sally's workload, and they're not going to do it, or they're not going to do it well. So as a leader, don't avoid this conversation with people. Step into it. The other thing you need to do is release Sally with gratitude. Now I'm saying Sally, it could be Johnny. It could be anybody. Just using Sally as an example, but every employee, regardless of the circumstances of their departure, contributed something to your team and to your organization. Acknowledging their value is a powerful act of leadership. Your team members see that. The remaining team members see that. And even if Sally was a poor performer, Sally did something that provided a little value to the team. And we want to talk well about Sally for 2 reasons. One, the rest of our team needs to see us lifting people up, encouraging people even on their departure, knowing we're not going to gossip about Sally. And we're so glad that Sally's leaving. If she's a poor employee, we're not going to allow that to happen on our team. So this is important that we lift Sally up as she's leaving. We encourage her. We applaud her for the value that she did bring to the team. We're building morale with that. Our remaining team trusts us in that. And also with Sally, hopefully she's going to talk so good about you as the leader. Out in the marketplace, she becomes a stealth recruiter for you. So whether it's a farewell lunch, a handwritten note, a thank you in their final meeting, express some genuine attitude for their service. This simple act just reinforces the culture of appreciation and ensures the employee leaves feeling valued, not discarded, not celebrated because they are leaving. It's just a small investment in your time and your energy and your effort that pays a huge dividend of goodwill. And what we're after when we do this and the way we handle this release strategy is we're looking to build a boomerang talent pool. What we mean by this is former team members who leave gain new skills and experience elsewhere. And then maybe they return in the future a more valuable person than before. This is one of the most powerful but underutilized talent pipelines available. If you handle that release well, maybe they go get new skills, new education, whatever it may be, but they don't really like the culture there and they want to come back and work for you. They become a boomerang employee for your organization. Why would they come back? Because they left on good terms. Because they remember the positive culture. They remember the supportive leadership and the meaningful work. They remember the graceful offboarding event celebration that you had for them. It's the first step in creating this boomerang candidate and helping them feel valued and respected, and they want to come back and work for you. So here's how you can actively cultivate this talent pool. Maintain an alumni network, like get their information, get their cell phones, get their email, connect with them on social media. Stay connected with them in all of their social media platforms as you can. Re-engage strategically, like maybe you remember their birthday or the work anniversary they had for you. Keep up with them if they finish their education somewhere. You can celebrate this with them. And then share things with them about your growth and what you're doing to grow as a leader. And share things about your listening to some podcast that helped you think differently about the way you led and you hope to lead better in the future. Those are just 3 critical things that you can do to help you. Jeff Weiner, a former CEO of LinkedIn, said this: start the retention process when your employees are still open to staying. That's that talent lock conversation that we talked about. Not after they've already told you they're leaving. I'd argue that retention doesn't end when they leave. A great offboarding experience is the first step in future recruitment. Look, I hope this has been some valuable things for you. I want to close with this. Departures are natural. You're not going to keep 100% of your people. We want to do a better job of that. You can reduce turnover significantly when you do some things that we talk about all throughout this podcast and also in our book, Quit Losing Talent. Go grab that at Amazon. But here's some key takeaways for you. Lead with integrity. Handle every exit with respect and gratitude. Listen to learn. Like, you want to take advantage of this opportunity when someone's leaving to learn what you need to do different yourself as a leader or for your team and the culture. And then build bridges, not walls, meaning build a bridge to them for future return. They may even talk about you at their next organization and you might get recruited to be a leader at their next organization. Or maybe they come back to you as a boomerang employee. I hope you found this valuable. I know leadership's a challenge today. But when you're growing and listening to the Lead Up podcast or other podcasts out there or reading books, you're getting better. And when the leader gets better, everybody else gets better. I hope you'll continue to tune in to the Lead Up podcast. I hope you found today valuable. If you did, share it with somebody who's just lost an employee. Challenge them to put some of these ideas into place in the future. I'm going to leave you with this powerful thought from Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Make everybody feel like a champion when they leave. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Lead Up podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.